got a whole new look going on. I even put makeup on for you guys. Back to business. Hi everyone, welcome to Knitting Noodles. And in today's video, that's right, you guessed it, we're finally finishing our purse. So I finally got mine to the right size. I just wanted to be fancy and I added a little pattern in there. Plain is fine. I just wanted to practice a little bit because I haven't done cabling in a while. So I decided why not add some cables in. So yeah, as you can see, this pattern is totally flexible. You can do regular garter stitch like this, which is just knitting, or you can make it fancy. You can add stitches if you're more advanced, like cables or different patterns. You can make it in stockinette stitch like this side's purl, this side's stockinette. But yeah, it's super flexible for whatever you want, but I got mine to 12 inches, so let me show you how to finish it and to make your purse. Okay, as you can see here, we're gonna measure this. This measures a little bit over 12 inches, but really only because this bows out because of the cabling. If it was straight, it would be exactly 12 inches. So I got my 12 inches of length here. Next step I have to do is to get this off the needles, which means I have to cast off. So if you need to review how to cast off, video up top in the corner on the little card. And I'll show you slow motion for a few, and then I will fast forward to the end and I'll show you how to finish this purse. So knit 2, back stitch, goes over the front one. Oops, got a little stuck there. So knit 1 and back stitch over. Knit 1, back stitch over. Just like that, and we're gonna continue like that to the end of the row. Okay, so I finished casting off and I took the last stitch and I put the yarn through it. So now we're left with our nice little 12-inch length of knitting. All right, so now before we do anything else, we have to weave in those pesky edges. So let me grab a yarn needle. All right, yarn needle, and we weave in the edges. Now, if you use 2 different colors, you're going to have 1 to 2 different tails to weave in of different colors. For this, since I've switched colors halfway, I have 2 tails to weave in. So if you just used 1 color, you're only gonna have the tails at either end, so lucky you. But I get a bonus 2 tails. So let's weave these in as well. If you're wondering where I'm throwing my scrap yarn, I actually do not throw it out. I saw somewhere that you could use your scraps for stuffing for projects once you get enough. So now I collect them in this really cool mug that I got. So I just have a bunch of scraps collected, and the next time I make like a little toy, I will stuff it with these. So I don't have to waste all the yarn that I don't use. I've always thought it was such a waste throwing out all the scraps, and so now I have a use for it. So that's a good tip. Also saves you a little bit of money because you get literally all the use out of your yarn instead of having to throw out some as scraps. All right, so we have our length right here. So now what we're gonna do, we have our length, we wove in all of our ends. You're gonna decide which one is gonna be the top flap that you're gonna see and which one is gonna be underneath. So for this, I made a few mistakes here, so I actually want that side to not be as visible. So you're gonna fold it where you want it to go. So I think, let me move this down a little bit. I want my flap to land about there. So right here are where my sides are going to go. Now mine's a little weird because of this pattern, so it flares out, but you're still gonna match it to the edges and sew along these. Let me grab the yarn that matches this. Alright, so we have my green right here. Now, if you decided to use two different colors, you can either choose to go with one or the other, or if there's a way to split it, maybe up to here is one color, and here is another. It doesn't matter that much because it won't be crazy visible. Or you could use a completely different color to sew it up. Like if I wanted it to pop more, maybe I could use yellow. But for this, I'm just gonna use the green. So let's cut a decent length. Got a decent length here. Let's thread our needle. Oop. There we go, fixed it. And then we're just basically going to sew up the side. Let's see, I'm gonna start at the top just so it stays exactly where I want it, and then I'm gonna work my way down. So wherever you start, don't pull all the way through because it'll just come right out. Make a knot there. Then find the other side where you want this to sit. Let's say right here. And then just like regular sewing, you can either choose to go bump to bump or you could go in between to in between. You can kind of see what I mean. These are bumps, and then in between there's little long strips, so it might be easier to sew those together. If it's a little looser, if you want a tighter grip that makes it look more invisible, you would want to go bump to bump. For mine, I'm good with going in between. Okay, we're at the bottom here. So what I'm gonna do is, see this last stitch I went through? I'm going to tie a knot to finish it. I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna go through the last stitch that I just made, and it makes a little knot. Now this is not the most secure because there's only one knot, so I'm actually going to put the needle through to the inside. I'm gonna flip it inside out, pull it through. Now this is how you make a sewing knot. I'm gonna find a stitch, same thing that you did on the other side. I'm gonna go right here through this stitch, and I'm gonna take the yarn and pass the needle through it like that, and it makes a nice snug knot. And then basically you just cut it, and we'll come back later and weave it in. Or if you don't want to come back later, you could just weave it in right now. I'm lazy, so I'm gonna save that for later. And now we have to do the same thing on the other side. Look at that, we have one side done. So now we have to do the same thing on this side. Then at the end here, I'm gonna make another knot, and the same thing as for the other side, because one knot is not gonna be enough to keep this secure. I'm gonna pass it through to the inside, flip it inside out, and do the same thing. We're gonna make another nice snug knot. I'm gonna put mine through here, wrap this, pull it nice and snug, and then give it a snip. And this scrap yarn is gonna go in my scrap mug to save for later. Okay, here we go. We've got this so far. It's looking good. We've got our flap. All right, now, annoying part of weaving in the ends. I'll come back when they're all woven in. Hi guys, so you know how I promised that the purse would be finished in this video? Well, I'm really sorry, but I'm gonna have to split this into 2 parts. I'm sorry. It was way too long to just shove it all into one video, so I've split it into 2 smaller, easier to digest pieces, and you don't have to wait the full week for the next one to come out. I promise. It'll be out Monday or Tuesday. Double pinky promise. And it'll be great. It'll be cool. It's just easier if I take it through in steps. So this is technically the second part, and the next one will be the third part to finish our purse. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'm really sorry I had to do this, but I didn't think that you wanted to sit through like 30 minutes of video. So I hope you enjoyed part 1, and I will see you all in part 2, 3, whatever the next part is. I will see you there. Bye.